Hey guys, Demir and Carrie from Lifehack Bootcamp here. We're going to show you an incredible tool today that is going to massively accelerate your ability as a manager or an owner to get big things done and move the ball down the field every single day.
Because here's the big problem that you're facing right now. With all the distractions coming at you from all directions, from employees, from technology, from notifications, you can't move the ball forward in a really impactful way.
Yeah, we're just drowning in meetings. We hear this all the time from our clients. I have to wake up at 5 a.m. and have part of my day in the morning because during the day, I've just got meeting after meeting and people are distracting me. We hear about clients working late into the night or even on weekends just to move the ball forward.
Exactly. So if you're the kind of person who should be watching this video, then you're already a really hard worker.
Yeah.
And you're already also really successful. But you're used to a way of working where you just grind it out and you work harder and harder and harder because that's how you get things done.
Yeah, putting yourselves into the gap is the strategy, and maybe it's been working for you, but it's not sustainable, and it certainly doesn't make for a happy life. So why don't you let us do this? Let us show you a tool today that is so simple that anybody could use it. You're going to be able to use it to massively reduce the distractions that are bombarding you so that you can actually move the ball down the field in a significant way every single day. And here's the best part. When you're done with this tool, you're going to be able to actually show it to your employees, and they're going to be able to use it in sort of a different way, but to the same end, so that they can stay focused and they stop distracting each other.
Okay, so who are we exactly? Well, we are the #1 productivity coaches in the US. We've been featured in news outlets like Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, Forbes, Entrepreneur, and so many others. We're the hosts of the annual Lifehack Summit that brings together top experts in our space. We're also Forbes Coaches Council members and international speakers.
And that's all just a fancy way of saying we help top performers bring sanity back into their life. The overachievers in life who've created tremendous success, but at tremendous cost, we help them rearrange their life and re-optimize their life to make it a life that they don't just want to live, but they love to live every single day. That's our mission.
Exactly. And the way we do that is by showing these top performers the best ways to systematize, optimize, rearrange everything in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. The mindsets, the ways of thinking, the ways of operating. And we're choosing this tool to teach you today because it's literally the smallest thing we can teach you to get the biggest result. Think of this as the lowest hanging fruit on the tree. Whenever we just have 15 minutes with somebody and they say, teach me something good, we say, use this tool that we're about to teach you today, and it will literally 4x your productivity if you use it right.
Yeah, and in the last training we did, if you caught that, our lifestyle design training, we really talked about how to design your life. And so now in this training, we're really getting into the nitty gritty. We're really going to be showing you a lot of behind the scenes, actual tools to get things done, and a lot of the science behind why it works.
So how do we even get here? How do we become these people? Because there's no college degree for productivity. It was really our own journey. The quick version of our story is that we were the worst victims of this. We were the overachievers. We were the people living in New York, working the Wall Street and corporate jobs.
Exactly. We were the embodiment of the reward for working hard is just more work. We did that all day long.
But the problem is what happened is within weeks of each other, we got a health diagnosis that basically our doctor said, you have to stop this month, not even this year. You have to stop this month or you're going to face dire consequences.
So if you think of life like a Rubik's Cube, where you have to solve all sides of the Rubik's Cube at the same time, then we were really only solving for one side, the career side, because that's what we had been trained was the most important thing. The only problem is we had solved it at the expense of all the other sides. So our relationships, our health, our happiness even, our family, all of those other things.
So what we had to do as intelligent people, we knew there had to be a better way. We looked around. Obviously, other people like Richard Branson are enjoying their life and achieving success. So why are we running ourselves on the ground and hating our life? So we basically became students of this. And not only did we put this lifestyle design into our work to automate both of our jobs, I went from working a Wall Street job, working 80 hours a week to 8 hours a month. Carrie did the same thing, and we became just incredible, dedicated students of lifestyle design and the tools that make you work better, that make you work smarter, and that get your time back and create a life that you really love.
Yeah, so if you want to get the whole version of that story, especially the whole outsourcing Wall Street job story, then check out our lifestyle design training because we have the full story there.
But here's what matters the most. Fast forward today, and we love our life. We love how we work. We're making more money than ever. We're working less than ever. We're traveling around the world. We've been to 18 countries in the last 2 years. We love our relationship. Our health is in a better place than it's ever been before. So we've completely flipped it. How? The way that we did that is part of what we want to show you today.
Okay, so the agenda for this training is super simple. First, we're going to show you the science and psychology behind why this tool works so well. Because if you don't understand the mechanics of why it works, then you're much less likely to actually have it succeed for you. And in the second part of the training, we're going to show you the tool and how to make it work not only for yourself, but also for your team.
Now, the promise here is if you use this tool, if you put it to work the way we teach you to, you're going to double, triple, or even quadruple your productivity right away, literally after this training is done. And it's going to teach you how to beat procrastination, how to regain your focus, and destroy the distractions that are just gobbling up your time.
Now, just imagine how incredible it's going to be when you can finish your work every day by 3 p.m., when you're actually closing your laptop early and getting home every night for dinner, when you're able to take 3-day weekends practically every week.
Yeah, when your employees know what they need to do, they know when to bother you, when not to bother you, and you can move the ball down the field every single day. Be the Babe Ruth of your day every day. But guys, don't take our word for it. Here's some of the results that clients have gotten just from watching this masterclass and putting it to work.
Carrie says that she's loving the game, her work days are totally transformed, and her actual work from home days structured. Michelle says that when she starts to fall out of focus and feel overwhelmed, this game is what always brings her back. And without it, she tends to feel like no matter how much she accomplishes in the day, the work is never done. And so this game really helps her give herself a break and be realistic about how much time each task takes.
Alexis says, when I found Lifehack Bootcamp, I was the owner of my own store and I recently bought the entire franchise from the founder. I was having multiple people asking for advice on everything franchising, and I was walking around like a zombie, consistently terrified of missing something important. The Sticky Note Challenge changed all of that. I now have my business on autopilot, and I just returned from my first international adventure because I can.
And guys, this is just scratching the surface. There are literally thousands of people who have gotten such tremendous results from this game. And in fact, 96% of our clients say that this tool is one of the most life-changing tools that they still use every single day.
So before we get into this tool, let's just talk about 3 really big lies that we tend to tell ourselves as overachievers. And the first of those lies is that this is just how it is, right? And I know that you might be like this, sitting in your office thinking, oh man, this sucks so bad. I can't believe that my entire week is gobbled up by meetings and distractions, and I can never really move the ball forward. And I have this big vision, and I just feel like I can't move it forward. And my family's paying the price, and I'm exhausted, and I'm not loving my life. But you know what? This is just how it is. This is the price of success. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, exactly. And so at the root of this, just skipping past all those stories, is sort of this idea that there's only 2 paths in life, right? There's the one path that you could take where you're super successful, but you're kind of miserable, right? You're just working all the time. And then there's this other path that those losers take where they're happy, but they're poor and starving.
But there's nothing in the middle. Of course, you can clearly not love your life, enjoy your life, and be massively successful, and that is just not true. It is so not true. But until we put a stake through the heart of that lie, there's always going to be a part of us saying, yeah, well, I must be unhappy in order for me to be successful.
Right.
So we really have to open up this possibility. Are you willing to consider that you can have not it all, but you can have tremendous enjoyment, tremendous happiness, health, that you can have incredible relationships and friends and family, and that you can be able to sustain those relationships? In other words, are you willing to believe that you can have a life you love and be tremendously productive? If you are, then this tool will help you do that.
Absolutely, because the real truth behind this big lie is that you are not scalable. Constantly putting yourself into all the gaps is not a recipe for a sustainable life. But building systems that can get work done on your behalf, now that is a recipe for sustainability.
Absolutely. Here's the next big lie. Technology makes me more productive. It makes us all more productive. So the more technology that I layer on myself and my team, the more productive we'll be. True? Total lie.
Exactly. There's this assumption that we had, throughout the 80s and 90s and even the 2000s, that because technology was on the rise, that just using more and more of it must be good. More communication would solve problems. Downloading more apps is the way you actually get things done.
Yeah, absolutely. And now what we're realizing is that is absolutely not true. Just like any other industry, every single piece of technology that we add comes with some kind of cost, and we need to calculate that cost. And the cost of all of this email and communication and phones and dinging and ringing and vibrating and buzzing and meetings has been the destruction, the wholesale destruction of our focus and our ability to just let our brain do what it does.
Exactly, because technology these days is literally a superhighway of distractions and information overload and low value interactions.
That's why we constantly hear clients telling us, oh, I can't think at work, I can't focus, but you know when I can? Early in the morning, or late at night, or when I'm on my weekends or on vacation. And so what they're doing is just the sickest thing possible. What they're doing is they're basically giving up. They're ceding that territory and saying, work is no longer a place of productivity for me. I must actually work a second job. Meaning when I go home, I need to be able to actually push the ball forward on the important things in my personal time. And of course that comes at the cost of our health, our sanity, our relationships.
Yeah, and there's nothing magical about those downtimes where you feel like you're super productive. They happen to be the same times when you're not constantly being distracted by your phone, when there's not people interrupting you, and you don't have any of those distractions.
Guys, don't take our word for it. Just listen to Bill Gates. Bill Gates has this incredible quote. The first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation, in other words, technology, applied to an efficient operation, an efficient business, will magnify that efficiency. And here's the second rule. The second rule of any technology used in business is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. You get it?
Yeah, basically, if you're disorganized, your productivity technology will just magnify that disorganization. So just by themselves, all those shiny productivity apps can't make you any better, but they can definitely make you a lot worse.
Yeah, once you've trained your brain to be the ultimate productivity tool, then you're going to get the best use out of technology because it's brain first, technology after to magnify what's happening in the brain. But when we don't, we get the worst possible scenario where we're being inefficient in our brain and then we're layering on technology and it's only magnifying the inefficiency.
Yeah, so let's put it this way. If you fell down some stairs and had some serious head trauma, then no productivity app would help you get work done. Right? But if your email and your phone and your text suddenly turned off for 8 hours tomorrow and you had no control over that, then you'd probably have the most productive workday of your life.
So that's the highest truth here, guys. When we train our brain to be productive, when we can optimize what our brain can do, we realize we don't need technology at all to be productive. It's just an optional add-on to magnify that productivity. The third lie is that multitasking is a necessary evil in my life. And I know that you guys get this too. This idea that, everybody knows, and I think it's common knowledge now, that multitasking is bad for you and that you aren't more productive when you multitask. But I think what's replaced it is this sort of acceptance that, multitasking might be bad, but it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Do you know what kind of price you're paying for multitasking? And so just stopping this one behavior is going to allow you to regain as much as 40% of your productivity back right away.
Yeah, because I think the lie here is that people think, I'm losing maybe 5-10% of my efficiency here due to multitasking, but I'm gaining the ability to keep my fingers in all the pies and manage all the pots and keep them from boiling. Not true. You are losing so much more than that, dramatically more, and studies show it. So we want to show you those studies. We want to prove to you that you're paying a much steeper price than you think, and give you the best possible news that the second that you stop doing this, your productivity will rocket forward dramatically.
The latest neuroscience tells us that even if you think that you're thinking about two things at the same time, your brain is just rapidly switching in between them. So that's why it's actually called rapid task switching, not multitasking.
Yeah, every time you switch browsers, every time you pick up your phone, there's a cognitive reboot that needs to happen. So your brain needs to go access that new information around, hey, how do I answer a phone? How do I answer this email? How do I have this meeting? And the result is you slow down. It tires you out, it increases your cognitive load, which makes you frustrated and exhausted. Really think about it, guys, like your brain is restarting the computer, the operating system, over and over again, and it restarts even if it's a very small distraction.
So the APA concluded that by trying to multitask, we're actually losing 40% of our productivity throughout the day. And researchers at the University of London put it in an even more extreme way. They said that multitasking drops your IQ as much as smoking pot does. Crazy, right?
Yeah, nobody here would go in and smoke a joint before they went in to manage their team or manage their company, but that's exactly what we're doing by filling our workplace with distractions and multitasking.
Now, this is bad news for most of us, but it gets a little bit worse. Gloria Marks, who's a researcher at UC Irvine, discovered that every time we switch tasks to focus on something else, it takes us a full 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get back to the level of deep concentration you had before you were distracted.
Guys, that's 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get back into the zone. Think about that. The way that you're thinking about it now is somebody walks into your office, they go knock, knock, knock. Hey, can I talk to you for a second? You say, oh yeah, you talk to them for 5 minutes, and in your mind, you move back to your computer and you get straight back to what you were doing. And what she's saying is that it is proven that you are not going to be able to get to the same level of productivity and flow for 23 minutes and 15 seconds. And I'll take it even deeper. When you combine this with the fact that we get distracted once every 7 minutes in the modern office workplace, what it shows you is that we are never achieving deep flow during the day. That's why you feel like you're only able to work at nights or on the weekends, because that's the only moment when you're not being interrupted and your brain is allowed to fall into focus and do its business and get work done. So that might sound like bad news, but it's probably the best news you're going to get all year. Stop multitasking immediately. You don't have to do anything. You can just stop doing something.
Exactly, because the second you do, then you instantly regain up to 40% of your productivity.
So here we are. We're just about to show you the tool you're going to be able to use every single day to 4x your productivity. But before we do, we just want to set it up with 2 quick tips that are going to help you understand why this tool works and how to use it to get the best optimal performance.
The first tip is that the flow state is possible even if you're a manager.
So guys, just like we said before, a lot of you have been saying, I will let go of the office. I'm giving up that territory. I'm ceding that territory, and I'm only going to look to do productive work in the evenings and the weekends. But what if that's totally not true? What if we could achieve flow and deep work inside of the office, and all we needed to do was unleash a simple mechanism in our brain, something already there wired deep into our core programming?
Exactly. We call this the flow switch. And when we ask people what they think getting into flow means, they describe flow as a mental state where work is not only going fast, but it's also really easy and fun. And that's the ideal, right? But to most people, flow is a super elusive state of mind. And in fact, if you think about it, you might not have even been in flow since college.
Now, this might sound like a controversial statement, but we're here to tell you something crazy. You can get into the flow state every single second of every day. It's available to you whenever you want it. But you just need to know the secret ingredient, the ingredient to flip on the flow switch on command.
And that ingredient is fun.
Fun!
Exactly. You see, we're so steeped in our culture of overwork that we've convinced ourselves that work cannot be fun, or it shouldn't be fun. And so we've stopped even trying to have fun at work.
But I've got good news for you. Fun is actually the key to unlocking a whole new level of productivity in your brain. Now, of course, like with everything, there's a technical term for this, and it's called gamification. Gamification is when we restructure our work environment to apply game mechanics and techniques that will engage us and motivate us to achieve real-world goals as if we were playing a game.
Yeah, and the reason that gamification is so powerful is that it helps tap into our most basic desires and impulses and then utilize those to our own ends.
The research tells us that when you gamify your tasks, you're actually accelerating your work by 20 to 30% on your core tasks, which just means, guys, it makes sense. When you're playing your work like a game, when you're enjoying it, you work faster.
And that's because gamification has been proven to release the kind of chemicals and sensations in your brain that you normally associate with, having fun. And a recent survey of almost 1,000 people showed that recognizing your wins through gamification can lead to a 32% increase in your productivity.
The translation to all of this is just that when you gamify your work, it starts to feel fun and easy. It doesn't feel heavy.
Now, I know that's a lot of science there, but it all adds up to what we call advanced common sense, which is that when we're playing work like we play a game, we work faster, we do a better job, we're more motivated, and we're less vulnerable to distractions, which means we not only make less mistakes, but we just enjoy it a heck of a lot more.
So the big reveal here, the big secret, is that we can bring the same psychological strengths and attributes that we display when we play games to our real life. We don't have to separate fun and games from work and productivity. They can actually merge.
All right, and that leads right into our second tip, which is that simple is actually much, much better.
Yeah, we have this tendency to be like, my life is complicated and my work is complicated, so the solutions to that complicated problem have to be even more complicated tools. But that's where we really fumble it up. Actually, it's the opposite. Simple solutions are easy to remember, easy to use, and easy to practice. Those are the tools you turn to every single day. In those moments when you're stressed, when you're angry, when you're depleted, complicated tools aren't going to work. It just takes too much thought. It takes too much processing.
Okay, and without further ado, let's get right into the sticky focus game, which combines these two tips, these psychological tools that we just talked about.
Yeah, it combines gamification with the flow switch so that you can use this not only to lean into your work, look forward to work, have fun with your work, but also get deep into the flow and 4x your productivity.
Exactly, and it's so simple and easy to understand that you're going to be able to form a habit around it and fall back onto it in moments of high stress.
And what I love the most about this tool is it proves the Gates rule. It's actually not about technology at all. It's about you. Once you can focus, once you can 4x your productivity, all of the technology that you wrap around this is going to be an amplification.
So this is not a high-tech or expensive tool. All you need is a pack of sticky notes.
So again, this is a game, and just like any game, there's a little bit of setup so you can get it right.
All right, step number 1, open your calendar in the morning. I don't care if it's online calendar or if it's an old weekly planner that you use, just look at it today, and we want you to count the number of 60-minute open blocks of time you have today.
So what you're really doing is looking for the free inventory of available time where you can do focused work and move the ball forward. That could be 1 block, it could be 2, it could be 3.
Step number 2, lay out 1 sticky note to represent every 60-minute block of time that you have available today.
What you're really doing is creating a time currency. So just like a dollar represents a sort of amorphous unit of currency, we're making the sticky note represent a unit of your time. And 60 minutes of your time, uninterrupted, is really valuable. I think we could all agree on that. It's possible this sticky note is worth $200 because to you, getting 60 uninterrupted minutes of time is a $200 opportunity.
Step number 3, when you have those stickies in front of you, we want you to write the day's important tasks inside each sticky note. And just like you pay your most important bills first, we want you to start your day working on the most important tasks first. So we're talking about the 20% of your work that's going to get you 80% of your results.
Yeah, I want to dive in a little bit deeper on that. It would be the height of absurdity if somebody took their paycheck and spent it on movies and candy and, buying new TVs, and then at the end of the month, they didn't have enough to pay rent. And yet, that's what we all do every single day at work. We're answering the unimportant or moderately important emails, and when it all adds up at the end of the day and the end of the week, we didn't actually pay rent. We didn't move the ball forward in a significant way.
Now, we want you to line up those stickies on your desk right in front of you in order of importance from left to right. You may need to rearrange them a little bit, that's okay. Just make sure that the most important stuff is first. Now, since each sticky note is worth 1 hour, say you have a task that takes 2 hours. So maybe you have 2 for payroll here, an example, because payroll takes 2 hours, so you're gonna need to use 2 of your stickies to pay for that task.
And notice on the end, the opposite can happen. I have a bunch of small tasks that add up to an hour, so I only need 1 sticky to pay for all 5 of those. Again, guys, it's just like money. You're using available currency to pay for outstanding liabilities.
Okay, now on to step 4. Now you're really ready to start playing the game. And this is where we start to unleash that gamification and get your animal brain engaged. So take a timer and set it to 50 minutes and push start. And once that timer is running, then your first game has begun.
Now, the objective here is simple in theory, but so hard in execution. If you work uninterrupted on that task for 50 minutes, you win. If you get interrupted in any way, shape, or form, a buzzing phone, a person interrupting you, then you lose.
So during this 50-minute period, we are closing ourselves off from the outside world completely. So that means you're gonna need to shut off your email. You're gonna need to close your office door, turn off your phone. No distractions or interruptions whatsoever.
Now, I know that probably brings up a lot of anxiety for you as an overachiever, as a manager, as a business owner, because we tend to think, what could possibly be happening in that 50 minutes? But the truth is, nothing will be happening. People still have your phone number. If they ring 3 times through your iPhone, it will still come through. But what you are doing is you are allowing your brain to fall into focus. You're not paying that price where every single time you get interrupted, it's costing you 23 minutes to get back to flow. You are allowing your brain for 50 minutes to do what it does best, which is to fall into focus and truly 4x on productivity.
Okay, now step 5. When that alarm rings, then your sticky session is over, and it's over pretty fast. Now, let's pause to tell you something super important. It doesn't matter whether you got the task done in exactly 50 minutes, but what's important is that you unleashed the game center of your brain, catapulting yourself into flow for 50 minutes and allowing your brain to work up to 4 times as fast as normal.
Yeah, guys, this isn't an exercise in estimating how long a task takes. It's an exercise in focus and gamification. Don't lose the forest for the trees. A lot of times you'll find out that something you thought would take 50 minutes takes you 2 50-minute stickies. As long as you're working at your peak level, does it really matter? No.
Okay, so now comes reward time, step number 6. So this is where you're gonna pause and take the next 10 minutes to reward yourself. Because one thing you should know about your animal brain is that it really likes rewards. So do something you like for the next 10 minutes. Check Facebook, chat with your neighbor. We like to give ourselves one little M&M for every successful sticky or a high five. These rewards tell our brains that this productivity block was most definitely a good thing, and it really helps burn those neurological pathways that ultimately turn this into a permanent habit.
Yeah, so it's actually ideal for you to have a break, but it's also realistic, and here's how. For a lot of you overachievers, by the time you get to the 50-minute mark, there's a part of your brain that's gonna be screaming to check your email, gonna be screaming to check Facebook. So this is the time. We're creating a time in your day when it's not only okay, but exactly what you should be doing. In these 10 minutes, check your email, check your Facebook, check your phone, obsessively if you want, but during the 50 minutes, make sure they're off.
And finally, step number 7, rinse and repeat. So once you're done with the break, set your timer for another 50 minutes and start working on the next sticky note. So keep going like this until you're done, working from the highest priority stuff to the least important stuff. And remember, this is a game. So if you're playing by yourself, then try to keep score and beat your best time. Something we like to do is actually crumple up the sticky notes when we're done with them and save them on our desk so that we can see how much we got done that day.
Yeah, and that might sound childish, but actually that tactile and physical nature of that is what is so key about the sticky focus game. When you have a bowl in front of you and you see that bowl growing at the end of the day, at the end of the week, heck, we've even had people who collected them in a garbage bag, and at the end of the year, they had giant garbage bag full of these crumpled stickies. And what that represents is a physical representation of all the hard work you've done. That in and of itself is a reward.
But our favorite way to play this game is by playing it with somebody else. So for example, at our company, we start a new sticky session on the hour, every hour, and then as a company, we take breaks in the last 10 minutes.
This is such a cool tip for those of you who interact with and manage a lot of people and you're getting distracted all the time, either digitally or in person. Think about it. Right now, the paradigm you work in is anybody can distract you at any time. But what if you trained them, your bosses, your employers, your cross-functionals, and you said, hey, every hour on the hour, I'm gonna be in a work block. But the last 10 minutes of every hour, I am all yours. In the last 10 minutes of the hour, you can walk up to me and distract me, you can email, you can call me, and I will be answering your questions right away. I'm happy to help you during these times.
Some of our clients even put a sign on their door with a designated 10-minute breaks that they're going to be taking so that their employees know when they can go and interrupt them. So it's actually a win-win because your employees don't want to be interrupting you constantly, but this gives them an out. This gives them an open invitation to interrupt you at a specific time.
Now guys, this might seem cutesy, but I'm telling you, we've integrated this into our own company and countless other companies, and here's what happens. People stop distracting each other. When the entire company, not just you, but imagine your entire company starting a work block on the hour and then having 10 minutes or 15 minutes at the end of every hour where we know that we can socialize, we can interact with each other, we can ask questions, and we know we're not destroying each other's productivity because we don't want to be, we just accidentally are.
So for those of you who work in an open office space environment, then we recommend that you do a couple things. First of all, wear really big headphones during your sticky focus session. So that's a visual signal to people that you are focused. Now, if they still interrupt you when you have those headphones on, then when they interrupt you, we want you to jump up in surprise and go, oh my gosh, you scared me. I didn't realize you were there.
Now guys, this might seem funny, but actually this is a super effective way to say something without saying it. So without saying the words, you're interrupting me, you're signaling to them very powerfully, you're interrupting me.
And you also training them because they're gonna think twice next time about going and tapping you on the shoulder because they don't want you to leap up and scare them. Now, some of you might have heard of the Pomodoro technique, and you might be thinking right now, Well, hey, this sticky focus game seems pretty close to that. What are the key differences between this game and Pomodoros?
Yeah, so Pomodoros were built on something called time blocking, and time blocking has been there since the 80s. You can think of Pomodoros as an evolution of time blocking because what Pomodoros added to time blocking was it added a very specific amount of time, 25 minutes, and it added this auditory cue of a timer that goes off at a certain point. So if time blocking was the first iteration, the first generation, and Pomodoros was the second generation of time blocking, you can think of the sticky focus game as the third generation of time usage optimization.
Now, the key things that we've added, there's 3 key things. The first one is we've gamified it. So we're activating the game center of your brain so that you're automatically falling into focus.
Yeah, you're keeping score, you're working against your best time, and you're really trying to actively see how you can get better at this game. That's something that doesn't exist in Pomodoros.
It's also tactile. So having the physical sticky notes, having that tactile sensation of crumpling up when they're done, that provides a visual representation of the work that you're getting done and improves your ability to make this a habit.
Yeah, because we're humans. We actually live in a tactile world. So adding those auditory, physical, visual, and tactile signals really increases the engagement.
And the third thing is we've added the rewards element. And for those of you who are habit formation junkies like we are, then you know that rewards are a crucial element of proper habit formation. Because if you don't make this a habit, then we're not going to be able to get this to be automatic for your brain to do.
Now, like any game, there's levels of difficulty you can play this game at, and you're going to get better the more that you play it. So right now, don't try to be a perfectionist. Don't try to do 8 sticky sessions a day. If you're really busy, you're interrupted a lot, you probably won't be able to do that. Start at the easy level. Commit to just doing 2 sticky sessions a day. Now, if you're an overachiever who's really talented, you would be surprised at how much damage you can get done if you just fall into focus for 2 hours every single day.
Exactly. And just 2 sessions a day is going to bring control and sanity back into your life.
Now, on a medium level of difficulty, you're trying to commit to 4 sticky sessions a day. Now, this is where you really start to double and triple your productivity, because when you can get 4 50-minute focus sessions done a day, you would be amazed. You're getting more done in those 4 sessions than entire days of your productivity. And of course, there's the hard level. I've never seen anybody do 8 sticky sessions per day. At the max, I see people doing 6 sticky sessions per day. Now, this is not easy. You have to really redesign your workflow, design out the distractions, and get yourself defending those blocks of time. But when you do, you can make small miracles happen every single day. You can step into your day, just like Babe Ruth, point out your pitch, and hit it into the stands.
Now, it's okay if you're suspicious of simple solutions to complex problems. We don't blame you, but this just works. So here's a few more things people have said after using this game. Jessa says, the stickies coupled with all the other powerful reprogramming were explosive, and now I'm enjoying my working retirement at age 34. Wow, incredible. And Steven says, believe it or not, this sticky note technique works extremely well. But it's only the beginning of the productivity journey that Demir and Carrie will guide you on if you let them.
Okay, so let's review and really connect the dots here. The sticky focus game is a dead simple way you can engage your animal brain through gamification and rewards, essentially translating productivity ideas into something that your animal brain can really understand. Because let's be honest, guys, productivity isn't something that you learn, it's something you do.
It's also a low-tech solution that you can use anywhere, anytime you want to get into the flow state on command.
It gets you thinking about your time as inventory and effectively creates a time currency in the form of the sticky notes.
These sticky notes also help you budget your fixed amount of time to get the best results. It helps you focus on that 10 or 20% of your work that gets you 80% of your results.
And the best part of this is it's so easy to understand. It's a simple game, and it's designed to help you avoid cognitive load in all forms of distractions.
And finally, and most importantly, this game prevents you from multitasking, allows your brain to fall into focus, allows you to get into the zone and really get things done.
Pretty cool, right? As you can tell, guys, we put a lot of careful thought into this in design. Even though it's a simple tool, it's been carefully designed to optimize how you work and the way that you work. Listen, guys, this is literally the smallest thing that we could teach you from our arsenal. We asked ourselves, what can we teach you in a very short amount of time that can 4x your productivity, and this is it. But we have so many other tools to show you. We've been researching and testing the best productivity workflows and the best ways to optimize your life for over a decade now.
Now, our clients are those people who have been willing to invest in themselves, to learn these techniques and truly apply them, and the results are outstanding. So head over to our website. You can check out all of their stories and testimonials there.
All of our research, everything we've learned adds up to one message for you. There is a better way. It is not a false choice between being successful and miserable or happy and unsuccessful. There's a third way where you can love your life and you can magnify and amplify the results that you've got now and even get better results. So it is our privilege and honor to help overachievers bring that sanity back into life, to show them those systems, and we'd love to show you.
All right, guys, thanks so much for your attention and engagement today. Make sure to send us an email, send us a note if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, if you're trying this game out and you want to share your results with us.
We'll see you in the next training.